Hey folks, it's Brian again. Part 2 of our encounters with the princes of the Apocalypse. The Feathergale Spire. Part 2. Or encounter 2. Second encounter. Something like that. Okay, anyway. So the party gets with the halfling and his little troop heading back up to Red Larch. The rogue assassin is staying at Barge Right Inn doing some training. And they head up to Red Larch. No encounters. They get there fine. The note gets delivered. The sorcerer, the warlock, goes to the storm priest at the All Shrines Inn and talks to him, saying, "Hey, I think this is going on. I've got somebody coming. We need to find out what's really happening." She goes and talks to the constable and tells him, "Hey, I got somebody who I think is involved with some bad stuff happening in the area. I want you to come to the All Shrines Inn before midnight. We're going to try and capture him there." And the party's there too. They're hiding in the back somewhere. So the Wainwright, very suspicious, comes up to the All Shrines Inn to find out what's going on. Actually made some rolls to see if he would just ignore it completely. Because the whole, it's been several weeks, nearly a month or so, game time, where, the believers have been not caught, but their whole spiel has been destroyed. A couple of them have been killed, a couple have been captured by the constable. It's pretty much fallen apart. But he's wondering about who thinks about what kind of thing. So, and he's bad. He's crooked on the side. So he goes to the All Faith Shrine, walks in. "I'm here." Lady Showside had learned invisibility, so she was invisible at the time. She goes walking out of the shadows. And in a roundabout way, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she's talking about the cults and that he's involved. She mentions the Spire. I don't think she mentioned the monastery, but she probably should have. And mention of Reavers and something about the fire cults. I don't remember now what she said, but she said all these things that imply she knows about the cults of elemental evil and is insinuating that he's involved somehow. And then she also said something about that he should come clean because his priest is dead. I'm going, what are you talking about? The priest is alive. He's in the back here. And she asks, who's in charge? And he goes, well, right now the constable's in charge of the town, but I understand he's going to be stepping down to this investigation. He's just been too hard on him, and somebody else is going to take the mantle. And somebody else has to come and take the mantle. That she goes, oh, and lets him go. And then the storm priest comes out, the constable comes out, the party comes out, and I'm talking. Sorry guys, I really thought this guy was in on all this elemental evil stuff that's happened all throughout the valley. And she apologizes. So they spend the night. Next day they go down to Barge Right, pick up the assassin who's now trained, and they head back to the Feathergale Spire. Sighing Valley is actually what it's called. There's a river that runs through it, and they're going through the valley because they know if they go on the plateau, they're going to get seen. So they're going to try and sneak through the valley. They wait till it's dark, and then they go on the west side of the river, just following along the river. As they get to the top, there's a bend there that they can then go up to where the spire is built up upon a plateau. And using the map as an example because I've got nothing else to go off on how far up the spire is from the ground level of the valley floor. I make a big estimate, 60 feet, and they've got rope. Well, anyway, as they're going along through the thing, there's 3 possible encounters. Most of them are designed for during the day. If it was during the day, they would have encountered 2 groups of gnolls. As it was, they're making stealth rolls, trying to be sneaky, and we know there's some kind of a rule about when you're doing something as a party that people who are good at it can help those who aren't. But we couldn't realize if there's just one roll for the whole party, or if everybody makes a roll and those who are helping, who need help, get advantage, that kind of thing. But I just had to make one roll. And so they're making stealth rolls as they're going along. We're doing this big blocks of time, 1,000 feet at a time kind of thing. And how long does that take them? And you're trying to be stealthy, trying to be quiet. 1,000 feet, through brush. I was thinking an hour, but that is completely unreasonable now that I think about it. They would be much quicker than that. Anyway, so we're doing these 1 hour, 1,000 feet turns, and there's an Aarakocra outpost near the river. But they're making stealth rolls, and the Aarakocra, it's a watch point, so they're watching, so they're making some perception rolls. A couple of them notice something, and so they go flying over to see them. And at that point, they make perception rolls. Hey, there's some bird guys up there flying around, and a couple of them freak out, thinking maybe they're giant vultures or something, but it's obvious that they're not. Anyway, the Aarakocra land, start squawking at them, and the party's using all the languages that they have to try and figure out if anybody speaks anything in common. And the Aarakocra speak Aarakocra and then Auroran, which is like the air elemental language kind of thing. That's all they know. And so they're squawking, and the PCs don't know anything. But the Aarakocra's watching, and it's obvious these guys are not bad guys because they've been watching the tower. They know there are bad guys in there because they've been watching them going in through the head of the valley, head of the river, the peak of the valley kind of thing. And they've seen them throw people off the top of the spire, actually drop them with vultures and stuff. So they know they're bad guys in the spire. But there's no communication going on with them. So the Aarakocra say, okay, and they fly back to their post. Anyway, the party keeps following the river. A couple of possible encounters with the gnolls, because the gnolls aren't really doing much at night. One party is. But the first, it's all daytime stuff, raiding and foraging and that kind of thing. But they bypass those two encounters, nothing happens. And they get around the top, and they get to the plateau piece. I forgot what they call this. There's their word for that. But the earth goes up, like in Arizona, and it's flat on top. Anyway, they get there, and they tie a couple of ropes together. They get them to fly it up there, and they fly into one of the stalls in the stables there, and it's an empty one. Find something to tie it off on. Doesn't really matter. There's going to be something they could do to tie it off on. So he ties it off, and there was a little discussion there about how strong is the imp. You know how heavy 100 feet of rope is? It's actually pretty heavy, but they figure the imp's got a string of 6. That's plenty. He can fly with it. That's not an issue. They're starting to get scared that he won't be able to fly. I wasn't worried about him flying. I knew he'd fly. Anything he can carry, he can fly with. That kind of thing. But 100 feet of rope is pretty heavy. And an imp is, an imp. Anyway, string of 6. So yeah, he can carry no problems. He flies up there, ties it off, lets it down, and then the party starts to climb up. One of them was the rogue. Was able to get part way up, but fumbled, and so he fell down. Only fell 10 feet. Only took 1 point damage. No issues. So they all get up to the spire, and in this one stall. And I draw the stall out, kind of thing. Just the double doors for the beasts to go out, and I figure it's kind of like an actual stable, so it's only halfway kind of thing. No issues there. But then there's another door at the other side, and it says in the book that they're double latched, so it would take a full turn to open the door. I'm trying to think, why would they need to have it double latched? And if so, you've got to be able to open it from the inside. You need to be able to open it from both sides. And so I'm kind of thinking, these doors with these latches are similar to what you see on a wooden gate, right? You got a handle, you got the thumb lever pushes down, which flips up a thing on the inside, so you can go in and out, and then it just falls down and calls on the latch. Real simple stuff, right? But the mechanism on one side, so obviously you can use it, and then there's the handles on the other side, so not really an issue. But they said Aloysius goes in spider form, sneaks underneath. There's one guy in here in the center of the room. The Spire stables is circular. In the center is a storage room, kind of. They've made it a storage room. They got stuff all around it. Because there's a center circular stairway that goes all the way through the tower. And so there's stuff around there. And there's a guard there. Well, he's just watching out for stuff. Now that I think about it, well, no, because there's a double latch, so it's got to be a full door. I was thinking that the inside doors are probably half doors as well. But say la vie. Anyway, so they sneakily unlatch the doors to open it up, and then they do surprise, rush the guy. I give him a surprise round. They get in there, a couple rounds, he's dead. And then they're discussing about what to do, and they decide to go. Well, they know they're going to go up the stairs, but the question is, how are they going to try and deal with everybody else in the tower kind of thing. But they send Aloysius up, and there's nobody up there, so they all go up, and then they're all just talking together. And after this whole encounter session that's going to happen right here, so I'm thinking, actually, while they were talking, I'm going, they're really making some noise here. I should probably see if anybody else actually hears them. But I think actually at that point they had a sphere of silence up, and so they would have all been inside the sphere. So they're actually talking. They have to step outside the sphere, but they were actually doing combat and stuff. So how did it go? Anyway, near the top, one of the players starts checking doors. First door is the kitchen, nobody there. Second door is a solarium, nobody there. The third door has 4 sets of bunk beds, and there's people sleeping in them. They're making stealth rolls, and they made it. So, okay, the guys are open, and they see what's going on. They send the rogue in to gather up any weapons. And so he starts checking the bodies. First 2 don't have any weapons. There are actually 4 that have daggers. I missed the second set 2. I only told him 2 daggers, and then 2 with scimitars and daggers. So he's got enough weapons, whether it's hanging on a post of the bed or in their wall locker or in their foot chest or whatever. He's checking things out and gathering up the weapons, and he just kind of throws them out the window. And at this point they're 60, 80 feet up into the dirt. It's not gonna make much of a noise. I made some little bit of clatter or something, but nothing significant. So I didn't worry about making a noise with them throwing them out the window. Then they decide at that point to do the sphere of silence and then kill them all. So the druid casts the sphere of silence, and it's 20 feet radius sphere, which will encompass the entire room, and go out into the hallway where they are. And they send in the barbarian, the assassin, the druid. It was just those 3, because the paladin doesn't like this idea of just killing people in their sleep kind of thing. He's thinking, let's just bar up the door. I mean, we disarmed them. Let's just bar up the door so they can't get out. Let's continue on. So he's not really involved. I'm gonna have to make him make some morality checks kind of thing on this stuff happening. But anyway, so I got 3 in there. They all attack to kill. The first 2 are pretty tough, and it's one of these. And we talked about this as players and GM as well, about because the barbarian, when he attacked the guard on the first floor, he wanted to just sneak up and break his neck. Is there a rule for that? Well, in Dungeons and Dragons, you can discuss things like that with the GM. It's like shooting somebody in the leg. Can I do that? Sure, you can do that. Is it going to really have an effect? See, that's the deal. Combat is so theorized. That's not right either, but existential in Dungeons and Dragons. That to try and do that kind of stuff, you've got to, in your own head, figure out all the effects. Whereas in other games, like RuneQuest. Anyway, so we discussed this as their way to do that, and so it does make sense that if these guys just laying in bed asleep, just take a knife and cut the throat. My dad was in the Army National Guard during the Korean War, and he was in Alaska and met up with some guys who had worked with the Turks in Korea. And there was this one Turkish guy who would sneak out of camp, go into the enemy camp, and slit the throat of every other guy. And when he came back, he'd come up on the American Guard post, and I think it was the guy that was the guard. Knife to his throat, and then he feels a hand touching his helmet. And then Turkish guy feels his emblem, kind of thing, American friend, and then walks back into camp. And so, is it possible just go in and just slit the throat? Absolutely, especially if we got a sphere of silence, because nobody can hear anything, right? But I probably should have made it that easy. I really should have, now that I think about it. But I didn't. They attacked. The first 2 guys didn't get killed in the first round. In fact, the barbarian missed one guy, not the first guy in his attack. He rolled a 12. The guy's got armor class of 14. He's a monk. He's got +2 on his dex and +2 from his wisdom. So he's got armor class of 14. And so there's a little argument here about how can you have armor class of 14? He's not wearing any armor. He's in bed asleep. But how do you associate a dex bonus to somebody who's asleep? Things happen. People roll over. Stuff happens. These guys got a wisdom bonus. Maybe they're intuitive. Things can happen. So I'm doing all this in my head, right? Trying to rationalize all this stuff to make the game still play, but not be a complete walkthrough. So anyway, the two that were attacked that didn't die are now awake. The third guy died on his attack. There's some more attacks on the guys. The guys that are asleep. Most of the guys all of the cultists have magic of some sort, but 4 of them are priests and sorcerers. So they're not sorcerers, but priests and wizards. The actual magic users. That's their thing, right? So while the party's discussing stuff and doing things, I'm flipping through the player's handbook at these spells to see what kind of spell do they have they can use it. What would they use? First off, if you're surprised in bed, you're going to do something, right? You got Thunder Wave, you're going to Thunder Wave, right? Or you're going to fly and get out, or you're going to, there's a couple other ones. Witch Bolt, and something else you don't remember. But I'm looking through these things. Ones they would, instinctually react with if something happened to them in the middle of the night kind of thing. And then what would they do next kind of stuff? Well, every single one's got a verbal component. And so all these magic user guys, the first thing they're doing is throwing some kind of magic, but they realize that it's not working because there's no verbal and they can't hear anything. It's not going to keep casting magic. But, they don't really, that's their real offense is this magic. And they don't have any daggers, so they can punch and stuff. But the first 2 guys are actually monk types, and so they can actually do some physical damage, and they fight. And there's some damage going on, but they get killed. And then one by one, all the other guys get attacked, wake up, cast their magic. So 2 rounds of attacks before they can really do anything. So it was pretty much a walkthrough. But it took some time, and some stuff had to happen. So eventually they have killed them all, and they dropped the silence. And while this was going on, the paladin who wanted to involve for that kind of thing is listening to the double doors. The double doors, he's thinking, goes to the dining room, but in fact, the double doors go to the entry hall. And there are 3 guards in there, 2 initiates and 1 knight. And they're just in there talking, that kind of thing. And so he hears that because he's listening, trying to figure out what's going on. When they finally get done with that, he tells the rest of the party, hey, there's more than 1, but no more than 5 guys in there. They're talking. So again, send Aloysius in. There's a knight, a couple of initiates, 1 guy in scale, 2 in leather, that kind of thing. And they do at this point actually recognize him, and they don't, because I rolled to see if it might be Jeffrey, right? Because they're kind of on the watch for him. They're also on the watch for Serena, the girl, because they're going to kidnap her back to her family, and she's going to like. So they do again, surprise attack, go in. They swarm on them. The 2 initiates, they've got less than 10 hit points, so these guys go down in a round. Takes them a couple rounds to take the knight out. I think the knight, no, I think he missed. He attacked somebody but missed, and 2 rounds is done. While the combat's going on, Aloysius tries to go under the door. The other side, there's double doors on both sides. Double doors on the other side. Oh, when they do the whole surprise attack thing, the druid casts silence on the knight's sword. And at first, didn't even think about it, but it just occurred to me his sword would have been in a scabbard, wouldn't even be able to see it. But now, since the silence spell is on an object, they can take it around with them, and it lasts for 10 minutes for the concentration. I didn't think about it because the figures, because we use figures. The figure was out there and he had his sword out, right? So, visualize, it's what you see, it's what you understand. Just not right. Well, anyway, They wiped through them. At this point, it's well after 1 o'clock in the morning. We decided, this is where we need. In fact, there was some discussion about maybe we should just stop after the slaughter in the barracks room. But once they figured out there's just 3 of them in there, yeah, we came out pretty quick, and it was pretty quick. And so that's where we stopped for the night. So we're back in the Feathergale Spire, working the way up, and they've got this silent spell on a mobile object. It lasts for 10 minutes. They're probably going to be able to wipe out the whole tower. Now I think about it. Unless something happens where somebody can do kind of dispel or counter magic or something. But as I recall, none of the magic users really have that. In fact, the priests and the starts with an S. The magic user guys that were in the barracks room are nowhere in the rest of the tower. There are initiates and knights all up and down the tower description, but there are no priests and no magic users, sorcerers, whatever they're called. There are these guys called Howling Hatreds, which are magic type users. They do more magic than combat, but they can do both kind of thing. There were a couple of those that are in the actual write-up. But for this, the flavor text for this room, the barracks room, says that it houses initiates, the howlers, the priests, and the sorcerer guys. 4 types of people, 8 bunks, 2 each, that kind of thing. But nowhere else in Spire are these 2 priests, these 2 sorcerer guys supposed to be. Just don't get it sometimes. Anyway, my 2 pieces. Hey, the thing I thought about starting off my previous, part 1 episode with was it's No Shave November, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. And just as a trivial fact, while 1 in 8 women may contract breast cancer, 1 in 6 men can contract prostate cancer. Well, anyway, good gaming, guys. Have fun. Have a good weekend.